Yo, what's up guys, it's your boy Sami here. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto were trained by Madara for Chunin exams, movie 1. Hope you'll enjoy this video. So before we start, please subscribe to our channel, and like this video. So let's get into the video. It was certainly a cliche setting that all bad and dark events happen in an ominous and creepy place. The Forest of Death could be described as such a place. The giant trees whose branches spread so far that shielded the sky from view, only allowing small strings of light breaking through. The inhabitants of the giant forest, many species including giant centipedes, tigers, bears, and leeches. There were many things that made the forest ominous, but the atmosphere, the air itself made the forest the most foreboding. Or perhaps it was the fact that the unfortunate genies of Konoha, Suna, Odo, Taki, Aim, and Kusa were inside of the forest, stuck and vulnerable. Until they acquired both the Heaven and Earth Scroll, and succeeded to reach the tower that was located in the center of the forest, the 5 days that were given to accomplish the aforementioned task ran out or they died. Either by the efforts of a fellow human or by the inhabitants of the forest. The situation that faced Team 7 of Konoha, which consisted of Haruno Sakura, Uchiha Sasuke, and Uzumaki Naruto, was none of the above. In fact, Team 7 had gotten themselves into one of the worst situations imaginable. The 1 in 1,000 chance that they, as fresh genin with only one serious mission under their belt, had happened to participate in this particular Chunin exam. This exam where there were many plots to be had. The biggest and the most threatening to Team 7 at this moment would be the fact that one of Konohagakure's most dangerous missing nin Orochimaru of the Sannin happened to be in Konoha. With several plans in mind. 1. To invade and destroy Konohagakure no Sato. 2. To kill his former sensei Sarutobi Hiruzen, Sandaime Hokage. 3. To acquire the living body of one Uchiha Sasuke. Last Uchiha remained in Konoha, for his bloodline. The Sharingan Okapi Wilai. The bloodline of the ancient clan of the Uchiha, it was said to originate from the Rakuto Sennin, sage of the Six Paths. But this was not known to be actually true or not. But, the common belief that young Sasuke is the last of the Uchiha remaining in Konoha wasn't necessarily true. There was, in fact, one other, that shared the coveted blood of the Uchiha. However, the blood ties were thin. Diluted by the blood of a minor clan, then the blood of a sister clan to the Uchiha's most hated enemy. The minor clan, the Namikaze. A now extinct clan, they originated in Fire Country, and remained a minor clan during the Warring Clan days. They died out just after the forming of the hidden villages. The sister clan, the Uzumaki clan of Whirlpool. Also mostly extinct, few Uzumaki escaped the massacre of Yuzashigakure, and now wander the lands, as vagabonds or settle in obscure villages to hide from the forces of Iwa, Kumo, and Kiri, who seek to exterminate the remains of the clan. The continuation of their attack many years ago. The enemy. The Senju clan of Konoha, formerly of the forest. The Senju clan also seemed to be gone with time. Only one Senju remains in the world. Senju Tsunade, granddaughter of Senju Hashirama Shadai Hokage of Konoha. Tsunade was a former Konoha Kunoichi, a member of the Sannin, and a sad woman who now wanders the nations, gambling her money away in grief. Normally, this Uchiha would have never awakened his Sharingan, and would have remained in obscurity, growing up as an Uzumaki, and a Jinchuriki of the most powerful bitch, Kyuubi no Yuko, or, as known to some, Kurama. Well, normal doesn't apply to Fuinjutsu, an obscure art not very known to many, as it was a difficult path to master. Also the secrets, and most complex seals were lost with the destruction of the Uzumaki and Namikaze clans, both who specialized in the area. Also the fact that a mere apprentice to Uzumaki standards mess with what is, and forever will be, the most complex seal on the planet. Orochimaru never knew what he had done to the seal. After all, you never know what could happen when you mess with a seal made by the combined efforts of the Uzumaki and the Namikaze, never mind that it was touched by the Shinigami soon after it came into effect. The possibilities were endless, as chakra touched by the fabled god of death could bring great change or the end of the world, as we know it. Force stood in the branches of the massive trees that populated the forest, a tension-heavy silence, and killing intent hung in the air, suffocating those not accustomed to the feeling. Only one in the group could. For a matter of fact, only 3 stood. One was suspended in the air by a tongue that wrapped around his stomach. So the Kyuubi brat is still alive, Orochimaru said, somehow managing to speak clearly with his tongue sticking out. When your emotions are heightened, the power of the Kyuubi overflows. Interesting. Oh my, the seal is visible, the snake summoner continued, his hands in a strange seal. Orochimaru drew back his right hand, the fingertips catching ablaze with the eerie purple fire. Also, faintly glowing kanji were visible in the purple blaze, each finger holding a different element. The left hand held the other, stabilizing it. Ajumfkin 5-element seal. The snake man lunged forward, slamming his fiery hand upon the visible seal on Naruto's stomach. Sasuke-kun. Naruto is. Sakura trailed off, as the pressure pressing down on her increased, making her fall into silence. Naruto screamed in pain, his face torn in a terrified and shocked expression. Soon his slitted eyes returned to their normal state, and the enlarged whisker marks shrunk until they were simple lines once again. He slumped in Orochimaru's hold in near unconsciousness, faintly aware of the scroll he fought hard to obtain being ripped from his grasp. Naruto was thrown aside, his path of flight aiming him into a tree. Sakura panicked again, hastily throwing a kunai at the flying blonde, successfully managing to pin Naruto to the tree somehow. The last thing the boy heard before falling into complete unconsciousness was the unmistakable voice of his crush screaming at something. But he could not bring himself to aid her. The pain was too much. Meanwhile in the seal. The seal would normally resemble a sewer-type place, with water running on the floor, and great stone walls rising to meet the high ceiling. There would be 2 pipes running along the walls, one large pipe glowing an eerie red, while the other would glow a bright blue color. Lights would run along the high ceiling, casting their light upon the darkened halls. It didn't look like that now. The water was turbulent, the normally shallow river had now deepened, the clear water stained a disgusting purple. The walls were covered in cracks, small shards, and fragments falling here and there, as the walls crumbled and fell. The pipes were shuddering and moving, the 2 normally far apart were now closing in on each other. The normal pipe looked the same, but if you looked closer you would see that the bright blue had darkened some. The large red pipe however was going through a drastic change. From the endless darkness that was the end of the corridor, a very deep blue, almost black liquid-looking substance was overtaking the red rapidly. The last remains of the red were retreating to the lighter side of the corridor, where a great cage stood in an even greater room. The room was also in shambles. The normal golden shine of the cage doors were now rusted and falling apart, but they were barely held together with sickly purple chains, and a slip of paper which also looked degraded. Behind the cage doors lay a colossal creature. It had bright red-orange fur, large bunny-like ears, and a mostly vulpine appearance. The only difference was a fairly human-looking torso and opposable thumbs. 9 menacing tails waved at the fox, giving him its title of Kyuubi no Kitsune, 9-tailed fox. The red-eyed fox was glaring down at the rising water, specifically at the only dry spot in the room. The wide circle of the floor lay dry, the space was empty, but not for long as something formed from the shadows, taking shape in the dry area. The form was one of the main reasons he was glaring. But the fox consolidated himself with the knowledge that he was going to be free, while his enemy would be trapped here until his host died. Revenge. Moving on. The room was continuing to degrade at a rapid pace. Most of the structure was about to collapse, which would reveal the new area made from the destruction. The figure had finished forming, revealing a relatively young-looking man who had waist-length black spiky hair, fair skin, and black, as coal eyes. The man was clad in samurai-like crimson armor with numerous metal plates, forming protective guards along his chest, waist, shoulders, and thighs. There were also 2 weapons on the man's back, a beige and brown gunbai which had a long black chain running up it. The other end of the chain was connected to the end of the kama. The man looked stoically at the glaring Kyuubi, his eyes often flicking about the room, taking in the deteriorated state of the room. The man concluded that it was a seal, considering that his pet was caged behind the bars. He last saw it in his last battle with Hashirama, when it was sealed into the man's Uzumaki wife Mido, wasn't it? Kyuubi. We meet once more, Madara drawled. Madara Kyuubi snarled in response, his tails waving more agitatedly. What is wrong with this seal? It should not look like this. Uzumaki work always looked like it was a work of art. Kyuubi scowled before deigning to respond to the Uchiha. A man by the name Orochimaru, I think it was, placed a seal on my host that aimed to cut my chakra off from the boy. It seemed to have worked too well. What do you mean? In a few minutes, I will leave the boy and join my other half in the stomach of the Shinigami. Rejoice. Fleshbag. You will remain here as a substitute so the boy doesn't die. Funny huh? Kyuubi. Madara stepped forward, his hand reaching back to draw his gunbai. Should I mention that the boy is your grandson? Madara stopped his advance and looked at the fox with narrowed eyes. My son died long ago, he was only 5 at the time, impossible for him to bear an offspring. Don't be hasty, Madara-chan, your son actually had a sealing accident and managed to throw himself forward in time. He lost all his memories of you and lived a simple life in Konoha before settling down with his Uzumaki wife and becoming the Yondaime Hokage. Madara was stunned. His son had become a Hokage. Interesting. Indeed. Listen, I don't have much time, but would you do me a favor? One last thing. Break your grandson out of his tree hugger habits. He reminds me too much of that wood using a bastard, always cheery, and trying to deal with everything using peace talks. Disgusting. There is also things he has a childish crush on. How I wish I could kill the pink thing, but alas, I cannot. As much as I despise you and your clan, you are a worthy ninja. Make your grandson the same. He is not worth much at the moment. I would be doing so anyway. Any other comments? Yes, actually, your clan is all but dead, only 2 brothers remain. Thought I would let you know. Ciao. And with that, the giant fox dematerialized into a red blob which disappeared. The room finally collapsed in upon itself, revealing a moonlit clearing which was located in an endless forest. In the clearing sat a boulder. It was a strange boulder with one high platform and a lower platform. On the back of the boulder was the Uchiha symbol painted in vivid red and white. Dead huh? Madara recognized the place as the place he was named Clan Head, back when the villages didn't exist, and it was just good old war with the Senju, in a dance to the dead. The moon was illuminated a vivid red, casting its glow everywhere. It had a ring that had one tomo circling around it upon the front. Madara looked up at the moon with a morning gaze. Minato. His gaze was drawn back to the ground when he heard a gentle thump. An unconscious blonde lay on the soft grass, his face set in restful slumber, while his chubby whiskered cheeks twitched here and there. The boy wore an atrocious orange and blue jumpsuit which clashed horribly with his bright golden hair. Other than that, the boy wore normal ninja attire. Madara walked over to the boulder and sat up on the higher ledge, watching his grandson with a close eye just in case something happened. A few hours later the boy began to wake, his eyes fluttering before snapping open, revealing bright blue eyes which had a thick ring of black around the edge. The boy sat up sluggishly, his hand coming up slowly to rub the sleep out of his eyes. He yawned before taking a good look around and noticing Madara sitting on the rocks. Naruto jumped up and retreated several meters, the kunai materializing in his hand. Who are you? Where are we? What the hell is going on? Naruto fired question after question at the silent man, forgetting tact. Who am I? The man looked up at the red moon, which prompted Naruto to do the same. Naruto's eyes widened when he got a good look at the moon. It was just like Sasuke Teen's eyes. I am Uchiha Madara. Naruto looked at Madara with a strange look. Uchiha. I thought Teen and his brother were the last. And they are. I was dead. Then how? No more questions, child. You still have ones I need to answer. Naruto fell silent, his head turned in an embarrassed blush. Where are we? We are in your mind, Madara continued. Naruto looked like he was about to speak out, but he fell silent just before he opened his mouth, remembering the raven-haired man's words. Madara nodded at the boy in approval. The boy learned quickly. What is going on? Madara looked back at the red moon, his own eyes changing to match the color. I have no idea. The clearing was silent, only the faint rustling of the leaves dancing in the wind were heard. Uzumaki looked to Uchiha as the two stared each other down. It seems some explanations are in order. Madara motioned to the rock beside him. Come, sit. I have a long tale to tell. Naruto looked at Madara cautiously before walking forward and lifting his small frame onto the rocks, settling down onto the lower platform. He looked back at Madara with curiosity all over his face. He wanted explanations now. Where to begin? I suppose it would be the birth of your father. Do you know who he is? Tell me please. Naruto shouted, turning to face the long-haired man desperately. As I said before, child, be quiet and I shall answer your questions. There is no need to act like you are. Naruto looked down in embarrassment, scratching the back of his head sheepishly. Sorry. Madara nodded before looking down at the vacated clearing. With a small thought and a flick of his wrist, he made a small figure on the grass. It was a young boy around 5 or so. He had bright blue eyes and golden blonde hair. He wore a high-collared dark blue shirt and black pants. This is my son, your father. Uchiha Namikaze Minato, although you may have known him as only Namikaze Minato or the Yondaime Hokage. He was born just after the forming of Konoha. Yondaime? Is Yondaime my father? Yes, now are you going to let me finish? Hi, Naruto stuttered. Now Minato was a genius at even that young of an age is expected from a son of mine. Especially in Fuinjutsu, his mother's area of expertise. Much to my disgust, he often went out to Senju Tabarama to learn some sealing techniques. I did not stop him, even though I hated that white-haired bastard, as he was doing it to become stronger. I could respect that. He was declared dead when he was around 5 years old, as his name disappeared from the tracking scroll of the Namikaze clan. The scroll basically kept track of alive members. A name would only disappear when they died, and the scroll is very reliable. How's he my father then if he died that young? Naruto asked. I don't know much myself, but before he came Kyuubi told me a little of what happened before he left. Kyuubi, where is he? Naruto looked about quickly, trying to see if the Kyuubi was nearby. Quite. How many times do I have to remind you? Have patience, Madara said sternly, his red Sharingan eyes looking condescendingly at the young Uchiha Uzumaki. Naruto hung his head in shame. You did know you had Kyuubi sealed inside of you. Naruto looked back up at Madara with sad eyes. Yes, I only found out about it around 6 months ago, at my Genin graduation. Konoha probably never told you before so they could ensure your loyalty before dropping something like that on you. That sounds like something they would do. Konoha is corrupted to the core, Madara said disgustedly, his hatred of the Leaf Village shown on his face. Hey. Jiji wouldn't do something like that. He is always really nice to me. One of the only ones who cares about me is Naruto, looking down at his swinging feet. Really? Why does he care? Why did he care for an orphan who was hated by everyone? Don't you think that isn't a bit suspicious? The village comes first before all the Hokages. To them, you are a weapon to be used. A military asset to the village. The Sandaime probably acted like he did to create a bond between you two, ensuring you would never go rogue or insane from the continuous hatred from the villagers. It doesn't matter now, Kyuubi is dead. Dead? Dead, gone to the Shinigami to join back with his other half. Although I don't know why, I came to replace him. If I didn't, the void left behind from the Kyuubi would have killed you. Madara stated bluntly. Oh? I'm going to have to hurry up or wait for another time, you are going to wake up soon. Wake up? Sakura-chan. Sasuke team. The weird snake guy. I have to go and help him. Naruto leapt off the rock and looked around for an exit frantically. Wait. Of Madara's word, Naruto stopped and turned round, facing the imposing Uchiha who had stood up and looked sternly at the former Uzumaki. I have not finished yet. Come back here. But, here. Now Madara's commanding voice reached him from across the clearing. Naruto walked back to his seat and got up again, looking down ashamedly again. Do not disobey my orders again, Naruto, or I will not train you like I was planning to. You are going to train me? Naruto looked up, a wide grin on his face. If you behave and follow my orders, yes, I will train you. You are my grandson, it is up to me to raise you, as my heir, as your father cannot. Naruto looked at Madara with a hopeful face. Could I call you Tusan? You are acting like a father to me, so. Yes. I suppose I am. I never got to raise my own son properly, it's the least I could do to raise my grandson off. Naruto had engulfed Madara in a tight hug, his head on the raven-haired man's armored chest. Madara heard a muffled thank you from the boy. No problem. Madara ruffled Naruto's blonde hair with his hand. Naruto drew back and looked up at Madara. His previously blue eyes were almost black now, only a ring of blue remained around the pupil. They suddenly changed into a blood-red color, with one tamu circling each pupil. You have awakened the Sharingan, Naruto. Madara drew out a kunai out of nowhere. Have a look, he held it out to Naruto. Naruto took the kunai and held it up to his face, the reflective metal showing him his red and black eyes. He reached towards his face with his free hand and touched one of his eyes softly. It looks strange, Naruto stated bluntly. It does for the first time, but you will get used to it, Madara replied. Madara gave a small smile. It seemed the Uchiha verbal tick had already surfaced. Naruto looked horrified. No. I sound like time now. Naruto held his face in his palms, hiding his red cheeks. At least it isn't as bad as your last one. I heard it went something like, Madara teased. Shut up, Tusan. Madara laughed and hugged Naruto again. It was nice to have a connection to his son, even though it was his grandson. Naruto laughed and hugged Madara back. As they hugged, Madara noticed something on Naruto's head, underneath the thick spikes of blonde. He reached up and pushed the hair apart, revealing Naruto's scalp and the unmistakable black lines of a seal. Madara frowned and looked back down at Naruto, who was looking at him curiously. Tusan. Someone has put a seal on your son. An inhibiting and loyal seal by the look of it. Inhibiting? What does that mean? It's stopping something, most likely your growth, intelligence, and chakra control. Although your hopeless chakra control could be because of Kyuubi. The loyalty one would keep you subservient to Konoha and the elders. Can you break it? Naruto asked worriedly, beginning to understand his father's words earlier about Konoha. Madara scoffed. Of course, I learned seals from your grandmother, one of the best seal users ever, only contested by the royal Uzumaki. Although you will probably change if I break it. Change? You will be more like me. Your looks, your chakra, your attitude. My chakra is very potent, and breaking a seal like this will change your very being. Do it? You sure? Madara asked. There's no turning back once this is done. Yes, Naruto said firmly with a fiery determination in his eyes. Very well. Madara placed his hand on Naruto's head and began weaving his chakra into the seal. I shall contact you soon, but remember to do anything to accomplish your goals, and do not trust anyone from Konoha. And with that, Madara totally integrated his chakra into the seal and channeled a shit ton of chakra, making Naruto's world go white. When Naruto came to, he noticed that he was looking up at the roots of a tree and that there were sounds of battle nearby. He stared up at the roots and marveled at how fast he could think and how clear his thoughts were. He didn't feel the need to prove himself and become Hokage. He didn't feel a lot of things that he used to actually feel. His chakra was running smoother through his body. Compared to what his chakra was before, it was like a rough stormy sea, but now it was like a still lake. Tusan was right, these Konoha bastards were using seals to ensure my loyalty and to keep me at a lower skill level. They failed. Naruto thought darkly. Of course I'm right, son. I have had many experiences with Konoha before they kicked me out. Look yourself over and see what's changed. Yes, Tusan. He got up and looked himself over and noticed that he had gotten taller and his skin had paled a lot. As he looked down, he took notice of how his black hair fell on. Black hair? He was blonde. Naruto grabbed a lock that was falling over his face and took a better look. Yup, it was totally black with the tips being his original blonde. To be honest, it looked pretty cool. He grabbed it back and tried to pull it round to see if it was the same, but he was met by a long spiky mane of hair that fell down his back to his waist. It's like yours, Tusan. Interesting, there's a fight going on outside, go see what's going on. Hi. Naruto walked out from under the tree and into the clearing, taking in who was in the clearing with him. There was Sakura lying on the ground injured. He found that he couldn't bring himself to care about her. Sakura was looking at him with a gaping mouth, and Naruto thought it was quite amusing. He heard dark chuckling in the back of his mind when he thought this. It seemed that it was amusing to Madara, as well. Sasuke was further away, covered in black marks, and was pulling on some guy's arms in a direction that would certainly hurt. Sasuke was looking at him with wide eyes. Naruto supposed his Sharingan was on, and his appearance, as well. He heard choking from Madara. He wondered what was going on in there. Team 10 were standing in a clump while Ino slumped in Shikamaru's arms, looking at him wide-eyed. Those guys that talked to them before the exams, Neji, Lee, Tenten his mind supplied, were also there. Lee, the guy that fought Sasuke, was unconscious on the ground, while the other two were standing in the trees. Then there was the sound team that attacked Kabuto scattered about. The spiky-haired one was the one getting his arms broken. The girl was lying on the ground, and the bandaged guy was standing nervously nearby the girl. Naruto, is it you? Sakura stuttered. Naruto looked blankly at the pink-haired girl, absently noting that she had cut her hair. Of course it's Sakura. Who did you think I was, Uchiha Madara? You're subtle, aren't you? It was a joke too, San. Sakura took immediate notice of the lack of chant to her name that Naruto normally added. What happened to him after Orochimaru punched him? He could very well be Madara, Neji thought, as he looked down at the other long-haired boy. He had seen a photo of Madara before, and Naruto had an uncanny resemblance to the former leader of the Uchiha clan, only with whiskers and a little blonde in his hair. Neji looked at Naruto's eyes with his Byakugan, observing the chakra coils developing, rapidly expanding, and changing. Actually, throughout Naruto's body, the chakra coils were changing. Neji concluded that it was to adapt to the dark blue, almost black chakra that had replaced the normal blue, with a hint of red Naruto had before. Everyone else was just staring at Naruto's eyes, which were lit up in the characteristic red of the Sharingan. They noticed that he had only one Tomo, while Sasuke had two. Sasuke. Everyone was startled by the lack of emotions in the normally cheerful boy's voice. They were even more scared by Naruto's next words. Is this trash giving you trouble? They should know their place. Sasuke and Naruto stared at each other, Sharingan against Sharingan for a few more moments, before an insane grin came across Sasuke's face once more. Yes, they are. Could you take care of the other one? I'm preoccupied with this dirt at the minute. Of course. But I doubt he can dance well. I'll end his suffering quickly, Naruto replied, drawing out a kunai, and walking towards the bandaged boy slowly. Dosu was panicking. He was only here to kill Sasuke, and now he was facing two Uchiha instead of one. Here Dosu held out his earth scroll to Naruto with a shaking hand. Take it, and let us leave. Snap! Zaku was screaming, his arms both laying in an odd angle, definitely broken. Please. Dosu pleaded, his eyes flicking to his downed teammates. Naruto was standing right in front of Dosu by then, his emotionless Sharingan staring at Dosu's scared flitting eyes. Naruto reached out, making Dosu flinch, taking the outstretched scroll from the sound shinobi with his free hand. I would like to thank you, but you're going to die, so what's the point? Naruto suddenly disappeared and reappeared behind Dosu, the kunai dripping blood. Blood burst from Dog's throat in a torrent, spraying down onto the ground. The now dead body fell to the ground with a soft thud, making most of those who stood by flinch and stare at Naruto with horrified eyes. Naruto, you didn't have to kill him. He did nothing wrong, Sakura shouted, nearly vomiting at the sight of the body. Naruto looked at Sakura with narrowed eyes. He was a threat, Sakura. No, he wasn't. He surrendered and was giving you his scroll peacefully. Why? If he wasn't a threat now, he could become a threat in the future. He would probably come back for revenge. We injured and nearly killed his teammates. What would you do if one of them broke Sasuke's arms? Or something happened to me, huh? Would you just leave? Never to return and get vengeance? You're weak, Sakura. Shut up, Naruto snarled. Boy. Baka doesn't talk to Sakura like that. She's your team. Ino was cut off by Naruto's glare. Shut up, Ino, you're weak also. What did you do to help in this fight? Stop with this nonsense, Sasuke said, walking over to the others. The curse mark had now disappeared from his skin. Naruto's right, you are all weak. Did you kill him, Sasuke? Naruto asked. Sasuke looked at Naruto with searching eyes. Yes. They all looked over to where Sasuke had been. Zaku's body was now spilling blood from his jugular, staining the grass crimson. Good. I wouldn't want more weaklings in our team. Naruto walked over to the barely conscious girl from sound, preparing to kill her. Wait. Neji and Tenten descended from the trees and landed softly by the prone form of the girl. I would like to kill this one, as you have taken the lives of the others. They did that to our teammate, Neji continued, pointing to the battered body of Lee. Of course. You don't seem to be weak, as the others here have it. Naruto said, walking back towards Sasuke. Of course, it was fate that made me stronger than you all. You were weak before, but you have changed, Uzumaki. Neji replied, quickly turning the girl over and slitting her throat. My name is no longer Uzumaki. I am Uchiha Naruto now. So it seems. Goodbye then, Uchiha Naruto, Uchiha Sasuke. The next time we face each other will be in battle. Fate decreed it so. I'm looking forward to it. Hakuniji. Sasuke said confidently. Naruto narrowed his Sharingan eyes on Ichi's team. When we dance, we shall see whose eyes are stronger. Our Sharingan or your Byakugan. Although our eyes are the most powerful in the world. So be it, Uchiha. It will be. Haka. Tenten picked up Lee, and Team 9 left, leaving only Team 7 and 10 in the clearing. Naruto turned to the terrified Team 10. What scroll do you have? He asked quietly, walking towards the Inoshika CHM trio. Heaven Ino replied, taking said scroll out of her pouch. Naruto held out his hand. Give it to me. What? Give me the scroll. Ino. But we're allies. We work together and help each other, don't we? The moment we started the exam, it was every team for themselves. We will remain enemies till the end of these exams. Give us your scroll, and we will let you live. Naruto. Quiet Sakura, Sasuke snarled, glaring at the pink-haired girl. Ino shakingly handed over her team's scroll to Naruto before retreating rapidly, dragging Shikamaru and Shinji with her. There was now only Sasuke, Naruto, and Sakura in the clearing. Sakura was still staring horrified at the changed Naruto. How much energy do you have, Sasuke? Naruto asked. Not much, Sasuke admitted. The seal that Orochimaru placed on me is draining my strength slowly. I have only enough for an hour's run before I collapse. I want an explanation, Naruto. How do you have Sharingan? I'll tell you later, when Sakura is asleep. She doesn't need to hear this. Sakura, you can sleep now. We will wake you in a few hours. Sakura didn't protest, although she wanted to know, as well, she really did need rest, and who was she to complain when it was offered to her? She dragged herself over to the tree hollow, and lay down, falling asleep immediately. Sasuke looked at Naruto with narrowed eyes. Talk. Now. Naruto motioned Sasuke over to the opposite side of the clearing from Sakura, and sat down. Sasuke followed, and sat with him. Tusan, how much should I tell him? There was silence for a few moments before he got a response from Madara. It depends, ask him what are his plans for the future. If he is involved with Konoha, just tell him the basics. If not, everything. Perhaps he could join us, he is Uchiha. Okay, Naruto replied, looking back at the confused Sasuke. What are you planning for the future, Sasuke? Naruto asked. I don't see how this involves how you are an Uchiha. Your answer will decide how much I tell you, Naruto responded, looking up at the moonlit sky. Sasuke looked at Naruto weirdly for a few moments before his face turned dark. I'm going to get strong enough to kill my brother, taking all I can from this shithole before leaving to find someone to train me. Although I don't know who will. Orochimaru had offered to take me in just after you were knocked out. He has already fallen to the curse of hatred. Ask him if he would join us if I trained him. You're going to train him too, Sen. I thought you were going to train me. I can train you both once I get out of this seal. Now ask, Madara responded irritably. Alright, I'm doing it. Sasuke, if I gave you the offer to train with one of the most powerful people in the world. Don't flatter me, son, shuddered Tusan. Would you take it? Without a doubt, Sasuke responded immediately. Naruto sighed, and looked up once more. He decided to tell Sasuke everything. How Madara was inside of him, how Kyuubi was there before, his father, how Madara was his grandfather, and about Konoha putting the inhibiting and loyalty seal on him. Sasuke was silent for a while, taking in the huge amount of information Naruto had thrust upon him. What are you planning to do with Naruto? Sasuke asked softly. Huh? From what I gather, you hate Konoha now. You won't be aiming to become Hokage anymore. What are your goals? You need a goal to work towards or you will get nowhere. I'll ask again. What are you planning to do with Naruto? What are my goals? Naruto asked himself. He found that he didn't have an answer to that question. He knew he had to get better, free Madara from the seal, and leave Konoha, but what then? What will he do afterwards? Create a cage Bunshin, Naruto. What? Create a cage Bunshin. I think I can temporarily come out of the seal when I inhabit a Bunshin. I'll try it. Naruto made the familiar cross seal for his favorite, and murmured. Cage Bunshin, no. In a puff of smoke that normally appears with the cage Bunshin, Madara appeared in all of his crimson armored glory. Sasuke jumped back in surprise, holding out a kunai to defend against a possible threat. Madara turned to Sasuke, and looked at him with an analytic gaze. You look much like me did in his youth. Sasuke's eyes widened in surprise. Madara's eyes narrowed, and a torrent of kai came out of his body, directed at Sasuke. However, if you ever betray Naruto, Izuna look-alike or not, I will wipe you off the face of the earth. Do you understand? Hi, Sasuke stuttered, his whole body shaking in fear. The kai was worse than Orochimaru. The kai stopped, prompting Sasuke to slide down on his knees, and look fearfully at the ancient Uchiha. Now I have something to tell you both, Madara started, crossing his arms, and looking blankly at the two younger Uchiha. What? Naruto asked. What I'm about to tell you will make you hate Konoha, and its dealings forevermore. I'm going to tell you the truth about the Uchiha massacre. Silence ruled, declaring after Madara's declaration. The two younger Uchihas stared at Madara slack-jawed. The truth? Naruto asked wearily, glancing at Sasuke, who was clenching his fists and jaw tightly. What do you know of the Uchiha massacre already? Madara asked, glancing between the two boys. Not much, Naruto said, only that they all died at the hands of my brother Itachi. He slaughtered them all to test himself. Sasuke interjected, seething at the mention of him. That is only what he told you, child. There were, and are more things happening in the shadows than you may think. Sasuke's head shot up and locked onto the elder Uchiha, his Sharingan eyes blaring to life as he glared. You know nothing. You have been here only a few hours, so how could you know anything about that night? How? Madara looked at Sasuke mournfully before looking over to the rarely seen Hokage monument, glaring at the first two faces. The Uchiha massacre was destined to happen ever since our clan joined this village. Having Tobirama as a Hokage just drove the wedge further. I knew it was going to happen someday, and I tried to get the Uchiha clan out of Konoha, but they rejected me, saying that I wanted to go back to my warmongering ways. I left the village after that. Sasuke looked at Madara confused and destined. How could it be destined? To even begin to understand, you have to know that centuries worth of battle and being enemies can be pushed aside lightly. The Senju and the Uchiha have been fighting since the time of the Rakuto Sennin. The Senju still didn't trust the Uchiha even after the clan served the leaf for a while. We never betrayed the village even once. We wanted the war to end, as well. But the one that had never trusted us was the one that led us to destruction, Senju Tobirama, the Nidaime Hokage. He created the Uchiha police force in an effort to restrict and keep an eye on the Uchiha clan. As time went on, more and more laws and stipulations were placed on the clan, reducing them to a mere police force, with no say in village affairs. Affairs of the village we helped create. I warned the clan that this would happen years before it did, but, as I said before, they didn't believe me, and began planning on electing a new clan head while I was still there. So what you're getting it is? Naruto questioned. Madara sighed, and looked at the boys again. Tensions were probably so high between the Uchiha clan and Konoha that the Uchiha got sick of it and tried to take over. You say your brother killed the clan. Are you sure he did? It could have been an illusion to try to trick you. No? It was him, Sasuke shouted, I'm certain. Madara looked at Sasuke with narrowed eyes. What was your brother like before the massacre? Sasuke's mouth opened and closed a few times before he looked down in thought. His memories were a bit foggy, but he could remember a little about how his brother was. He was really nice to me. He always told me that violence wasn't needed and how he wanted there to be peace in the world. Ka-san always said that Itachi was a kind person that would never unwillingly hurt somebody. But he started changing and getting distant after he joined Anbu. I hardly saw him, as he was always on missions. Whenever he did come home, it was only for a short time. Just before the massacre, he got into an argument with your son. That's all I can remember. But... Sasuke looked up with a confused gaze. I don't know if what I saw was true or not, but I thought I saw him crying before I passed out. Madara and Naruto sat and took it all in. Madara came to a conclusion quicker than Naruto. A pacifist then. Judging by what you told me, I can assume that Itachi was ordered to kill the clan, and only a Hokage can give that kind of order. They were struck silent once again. Ordered? Naruto stuttered, his eyes wide. You lie. You lie. That couldn't have happened. That's not true. Sasuke had leapt forward and tried to attack Madara, but he was quickly deflected and sent back to his place with a rough push. He landed on the ground roughly. Sasuke is the most logical conclusion, Sasuke. You can't refute that. Sasuke ground his teeth in irritation, trying to find a way to deny Madara's conclusion, but he couldn't, as Madara said it made the most sense. Sasuke stood up and started to head back to the tree, but he was stopped by Madara, who held a hand up. If anyone asks, it was Orochimaru's messing with the seal that caused Naruto's change. Also, don't say anything about what we discussed tonight. Why not? Sasuke snarled. Why can't I go and get my revenge now? Because the theory is not confirmed, and it could not be true even though 93% is true. Wait until we confirm it, and we get stronger. Your revenge is not going anywhere. Sasuke snarled again, and then stalked to where Sakura was sleeping, and set himself deep into the hollow, turning his back to the other Uchiha. Falling asleep. Madara turned to Naruto. That goes for you, as well, not revealing anything that we discussed. Not even anything about me or the Kyuubi. It could have disastrous consequences. What do you mean? But there changes. Madara gestured to Naruto's hair, eyes, and skin. Konoha will already be suspicious of you, and will try to examine the seal, and try to get you under their control again. You cannot trust anyone. Remember that they are all ninjas, ninjas who can manipulate you to their tiniest whim. Like they have for most of your life. Naruto looked down at his feet with a sad gaze. So, even Iruka-sensei, Kakashi-sensei, and Hokage Jiji can't be trusted. Especially them. Madara knelt down and took a hold of Naruto's shoulders. They probably had a hand in your development and loyalty. Without me, you would have never doubted the Hokage, Iruka, and Kakashi, and you would have remained loyal to this backwards village till you died. So, what do I do now? Naruto asked hesitantly. Madara smiled softly, leaning forward and resting his forehead against Naruto's, whispering so softly that he could hardly hear him. Naruto never noticed what Madara was doing to him. We get stronger, strong enough to kill all those who oppose us, to kill our enemies, strong enough to destroy Konoha, leaving only ashes. How do I get strong, though? I'm so weak right now that it's not even funny. Academy students could probably beat me. Naruto was looking down in shame. Madara stroked Naruto's long black blonde hair affectionately, the soft smile still on his face. All you have to do is to follow me, and let me train you. It will be a rough path, but it will be worth it in the end. You will be powerful enough to show them that they were wrong. That Uzumaki Naruto is no more, and Uchiha Naruto will rise in his place. No longer a child they can push around and discriminate just because some idiot sealed one of the most powerful beings of existence into him. You could even tell them that the Kyuubi is dead, shouted from the rooftops. But, we cannot reveal ourselves now. If we do, Konoha will get their seal master and seal me away from you, and all of your memories of trying to go against them, you Sharingan. Everything will be locked away. What's your decision, Naruto? Like you ever had a choice? Madara thought. Okay, what about Naruto? I'll follow you. Just make me strong. Naruto was looking nervously at Madara, scared that his father figure would reject him, like everyone else. Good. Madara ruffled Naruto's spiky head of hair. We can talk tomorrow, now go to sleep. I'll keep watch. Hi, Tusan. Naruto walked over to the tree, but he stopped halfway and turned back to Madara. Tusan, how should I act around the Konoha shinobi? Do I act like I used to, or do I show my real self? A bit of both. So, as to not cause as much suspicion, act like you are still loyal, but you are more serious. Hi. Naruto turned and walked over to the tree, laying down, falling asleep immediately. Madara looked at the sleeping boy with a smirk on his face. Phase 1. Get the boy to trust him complete. I don't know why they never chose you. As Hokage, you have the charisma for it. Indeed, you have a way with words, Madara-sama. Zetsu took you long enough. Madara turned and watched as his subordinate rose from the ground, the black and white contrasting skin drawing the most attention. It took a while to locate your chakra signature, although you made it easy for us when you flared it out for the world to know. We also had Ibito to deal with. He was too curious as to what we were up to. We managed to dissuade him temporarily. We didn't know if you wanted to reveal yourself. How's Ibito doing? Good, the plan is going along well, although we were curious about what you said earlier. Is Kyuubi really dead? The Kyuubi that was sealed into the boy is now in the Shinigami's stomach with his other half, if what I have been told is true. We can still retrieve it if we get that Uzumaki mask. Could you find it? Possibly. It will take time. Do it, or the plan is lost. Okay. It will be done. And the boy? Madara narrowed his eyes at Zetsu. What of the boy? What are your plans for him? You wouldn't waste so much time convincing a useless pawn. Madara scoffed. You know me too well, Zetsu, but he is not an expendable piece. After all, my blood runs thick in his veins. He is my grandson. Grandson? You never said you had a son. My son supposedly died when he was 5 years old, but he had gotten himself into a sealing accident and thrown himself forward in time. That's interesting. Indeed. You ask about my plans for him. Madara looked over to the sleeping boy and smirked. A backup plan, just in case Ibito fails. Naruto has Uzumaki, Namikaze, and Uchiha blood in him. He is guaranteed to be powerful, with the right training, and the way I am going about this will secure his loyalty to me, and me alone. That sounds like it will be interesting to do. I have my work cut out for me, though. The Senju ideals are ingrained deep in him. It will take a while to have him perfectly where I want him. But when I do... you know what you're doing in any case. Do you want Ibito and Akatsuki to be informed of your revival? Yes. But tell them that they will not make a move now. I have work to do. Training my grandson, and getting out of this seal are at the top of my list. Well, we'll be going now. We'll get in contact soon, and inform you of the progress. Zetsu sunk into the ground, leaving no trace that he was ever there. Madara looked up at the sky, at the full moon that shone brightly down onto the world. Soon the eternal Tsukuyomi will be in effect, and peace will be brought to this cursed world. It was tiring, but they pushed on, leaping through the thick bushy trees, as they tried to push away the almost overwhelming exhaustion pressing down on their minds and bodies. They were almost finished with their journey. After spending almost 3 days in this infernal forest, they were willing to push past their limits to reach the safe haven that was the tower located in the center of the aforementioned forest. Sakura was the most exhausted of the trio, her low stamina, and the fact that she was still recovering both physically and mentally from yesterday's battle against the Sound Ninja. Also the fact that her teammate Sasuke-kun and Abano. She dared not call Naruto by that insult anymore. Not after what he had done yesterday. That was one of the worst moments of her life. On par with the freaky Miss Ninja that killed Sasuke-kun, delusional. You know Sakura, she would focus on that Sasuke had DIAD briefly, and that Orochimaru guy that did something to Sasuke. The continuation of Sakura's thoughts were not recorded, and so, they, fortunately, will not be written. Naruto was the least tired, but he was still exhausted. He was continuously scanning the forest, on the lookout for threats. As the closer they got to the tower, the more chance that someone could ambush them, and take their scrolls while they were weak. He was still taken aback at how much better he could see, sense, feel. Before it was like he was in a thick smothering cocoon that blocked out everything. But now, he felt like he was invincible, like he could take on any enemy. His eyes were so sharp that he could make out individual leaves on the trees that they passed. His chakra was so much easier to control, leaping through the trees was effortless. He could think almost 10 different things at once, and still remain vigilant to his surroundings. He was still getting used to that. He could also sense things, not much, but he could sense the chakra of his teammates, and a few faint ones jittering about the forest. But his thoughts were sobered by the utterly humiliating fight against Orochimaru the day before yesterday. He was utterly beaten. He was no match for the Snake Sannin. Madara also gave a bit of advice that brought him back down to earth in a gentler way. FLASHBACK. You may have awakened the Sharingan, Naruto. But you must remember that the Sharingan is not all-powerful. You are still at the skill level that you were at before. You merely have a better understanding and view of the world. The true changes will reveal themselves when we begin to train. I also have to tell you some side effects to the Sharingan. The eyes tempt you, you must not give in to the power hunger and the madness that it brings. I myself have fallen to the curse, and have barely beaten it back. It is a constant battle uphill that you will begin once you progress in the eyes levels. Now get back to running, your absent-mindedness is going to make you run into a tree. Ha. Tree. Oh, that one no crash tree, I hate you. You stupid lump of wood, I will. I'm sure that even Hashirama Baka heard his hatred for trees in the afterlife. Hurry up, Naruto. You're lagging behind. Sasuke. Shut up, bastard. Flashback END. But times. Sasuke was still a bastard, just less so to him. He guessed it was because he was a Uchiha, and that he wasn't as annoying as before. It could also be about what Madara had told them the previous night. The things that this village has done were disgusting and inhumane. No wonder Toussaint left the village. Naruto wondered how Sasuke was holding up. It concerned Sasuke more than himself, the Uchiha massacre. Sasuke was conflicted. His reason for living that has driven him for 5 years had been smashed to pieces in front of his eyes. It was always Itachi. The person he worked towards, the person he wanted to kill more than anything in the world, killed the clan on Konoha's orders. Because they were planning a coup. It was the village's own fault that the Uchiha wanted to revolt. And since they couldn't stop it by conventional means, they just ordered Itachi to kill them all. He didn't know if this was true or not, so he planned to talk with Itachi and get the truth from him. He could figure out if he was killing his brother or not when he crossed that bridge. They had mostly passed through with no one challenging them. There was a narrow situation where they nearly ran into someone from a powerful team, but with Naruto's sensing skills, they managed to avoid and pass by the lone person. They were a kilometer or so away from the tower when Naruto sensed another team. They were not really close, but close enough for him to flag it as a possible threat. About a half a mile away is a strong team. Are they heading this way? Sasuke asked, drawing out a kunai from his kunai holster. No, they seem to be heading to the tower as well, Naruto replied. We should hurry then. In case they want to attack you. Sakura stuttered, absolutely terrified to be anywhere near Naruto. I agree. Let's go then, Naruto drawled sarcastically. Or do you want to just sit here and watch the flowers grow? After an affronted silence, the trio headed off at a quick pace towards the tower. It took them around 20 to 30 minutes to reach it, and they saw the team Naruto sensed head into the tower. They caught a hint of blue, red, and black, but they couldn't see the symbol on their hit I-8, so their village remained unknown. Naruto walked over to a free door and opened it, motioning the trembling Sakura and the conflicted Sasuke in. They walked in together and looked up at the message on the wall. I think they want us to open the scrolls, Sasuke said, taking out the earth scroll he had. So it seems. Naruto took out his heaven scroll and looked towards Sasuke. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Sasuke and Naruto both opened the scrolls at the same time, but they were covered in strange symbols. Kenjutsu, the sealing arts. This is a summoning seal, throw it down on the ground. Throw it down, Naruto, Sasuke shouted, throwing his own scroll. Naruto soon followed, and, as the scrolls landed, they fell into an X shape. A plume of smoke emerged from the scroll, concealing whatever had appeared. It remained there for a few moments before fading, revealing their former teacher, Iruka. Iruka was looking wide-eyed at the team. Sakura looked the same, if not a bit shaky. She was also taking minute glances at Naruto, which were filled with fear. Sasuke looked a bit troubled, but he hid it well behind a mask of indifference. Naruto looked completely different. If it weren't for the orange, he would have thought it was someone else. The long black hair compared to Naruto's original blonde. The pale-skinned Naruto was nicely tanned. The eyes were the most surprising, only a small ring of blue remained, the rest was a deep coal black. Naruto had grown taller too, on par with Sasuke's height. It was noticeable, as Naruto's clothes were a little tight on him. All in all, Iruka was wondering what had happened to the normally cheerful boy. He seemed rather reserved now, not much, but a little. Hey. Long time no see. Yo. Thanks for watching my video, leave a like if you enjoyed my video, and also do consider subscribing to my channel for more